All right, you guys, top of the morning. It is February 20th. Like I said, I'm excited and full of passion. I'm ready to go full tilt with everybody this morning. So in true fast form, if this is your first time, I know we have some first timers here. Welcome to Keep It Moving Group Coaching. This is an environment that is derived from the collective wisdom. This is all about vulnerability. This is all about getting better together. And that's what this room represents. And so let's go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to go over to my boy, Mark. Mark recently joined our team. Mark, I'm going to have you, my man, take us out on the field. Let me give a little bit of context here. Bringing everyone out on the field means this, is that we are huddling up before we go up the tunnel and out on the field on game day. You're having us in the huddle, and you're going to hype us up and bring us out on the field. So Mark, no pressure at all, big dog, but I'm going to have you, Mark B, bring the team out on the team on this beautiful, or bring the team out on the field on this beautiful Monday morning. So Mark, hit him with it, take yourself off of mute, and let's welcome Mark to the team. Him and his brother, David, are twins, and they have recently joined our team. I told them that they should lean heavily into this twins brand, but that's completely up to them.
Yeah.
Mark, let's hear it, bro. Take us out on the field.
All right, team. So let's get a quick chant started out on 1, 2, 3. We're going to say team fast, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Team fast. Yeah, there you go. I'd have us all doing the huddles like, ha, ha, ha. But you know, right now we're all not together right now, but hey, you know, just had to start it off.
Awesome. Awesome. I do have a question for you and your brother. Who would win right now in an arm wrestling battle?
Me. See that? I don't know about that.
Who would win in a pull-up contest?
That was me. I'd say him.
Who would run 3 miles without stopping first?
No, look at me.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Hey, I saw that you guys did the Spartan race. We did one over, but it was out the way. But I saw you guys did the SF one. So
yeah, man, we're gonna
do it again this year. I'm there.
Yeah, as the sun starts coming out, we're gonna plan more group hikes. Sacramento did one. We're gonna do Mission Peak again. So yeah, so we definitely are a very, very active team. So appreciate you guys. Welcome for being here, and let's go
thank you.
And get rolling. You guys, we are almost done with February, right? It's crazy how quick this year is going. So I want to ask you guys, what has this year taught you about yourself thus far? Obviously, you've learned some lessons about the business, about the nuances. I believe that it was the quickest lull in our business that we ever saw, right? When we think like, oh, downturn, the market's going to turn, it's going to take some time to pick up. It was the quickest little shakeup that I've ever seen in this business in the last 7 years. So I wanted to ask you guys, 3 people, I'm going to call on you. If you don't raise your hand, I'm just going to pick 3 random people. What has this year taught you about yourself thus far? Has it taught you that you're a woman of commitment, a man of discipline, that you're actually pretty funny on video? Like, what has this year taught you about yourself? Or has it taught you that, hey, you need to step up, you need to plan better, that you're unorganized? Like, let's be real with each other. That's the conversation that we're going to start out with. And I have some cool things that I'm going to show you guys right now. So I need 3 volunteers. If you don't volunteer, I'm going to give you guys 5 seconds, and I'm just going to call on a couple of people because we're going to have some fun today. And this is about full interaction and engagement. And as always, Joe Ellen, but I'm not going to let Joe Ellen go first because she always goes first. So I'm going to have somebody else step up and go first. And who is that going to be? Griselda, I love it. Oh. Wait, who is that? I heard somebody.
That was me. I'll go second.
All right. No, you go first. You're already here. Let's go, Sammy. Let's hear it. What is this year about yourself?
So last year I was on bed rest for 4 months up until December.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So this year has taught me, like during that time, what I did was I went ahead. I didn't have a team. That's where I messed up. I could have been doing my calls and, handing my business to my team and stuff. But it has taught me that I need to go out there and get to know more agents because I'm social, but antisocial. It's weird. So, and I have done that. I've been going to the Stockton office. I'm waking up every day now between 3:30 and 4 a.m. to start my day. I didn't have any sales at all to now I have pre-approvals. I just sold a lot land, which I'm happy that I'm a part of their development process because I'll be listing it soon. And it just taught me about consistency. If I'm just consistent and I keep the schedule that I am on right now, like I'm going to start seeing more wins, so I hate waking up at that time. but I literally roll my butt out of the bed and I start my day and I have a schedule. I start with God. I go to my workout because I'm still in the healing process and I need to know how to walk better. I broke my foot. I fractured 6 bones and tore 3 ligaments and sprained my ankle. So I have 2 discs and 4 screws in my foot. So it's a process, but nothing's stopping me, and it's just about the consistency.
Wow, I love
Then
this.
that's where, I slacked off for a week and I realized, wow, I didn't even get an appointment. Went back to it and I'm like, okay, I need to stick to this. So consistent, I've been about 4 weeks in and I'm proud of myself because I have kids, I'm a mom. It's easy to slack off.
Ooh, I love this. I love this. And so the question, if you guys were just tuning in, the question was what she had learned about herself so far this year. And she learned that consistency is super important. But how many people resonated with that when she said, I'm social, antisocial? Has anybody ever felt like you do really good interpersonally, but sometimes when you're out with people or out in a networking environment, you get a little closed up? Does that happen? Or
Yeah, that happens to me a
it
lot.
happens to a lot of us, you guys, and it just takes time and it takes a little practice, but it happens to everyone. Well, I'm seeing quite a bit. And so, Sammy, I appreciate you sharing that. So the question was, I'm going to go to Griselda next. What has this year taught you about yourself? Griselda, take yourself off of mute and let's hear from you. And then Joellen, she was chomping at the bits. I'm going to go over to Joellen. So Griselda, let's hear from you. Griselda going once. Griselda.
I'm coming. Okay, hold on one second.
All right, Supermom, let's hear it.
Well, you know what? I started working out this year.
Hold a second. I need to see your face. If you're gonna
Oh boy, I look crazy right now, but okay.
Right. So do I.
Okay, we'll just
it's just the logic tech made the imagery look a little better this morning. All right, Griselda, let's hear it.
Okay, so I started working out this year and I had been off of workout for a minute and it was everything with my excuse. So I've been consistent with it. I'm like on a 8-week streak and I'm very proud of myself for that.
And so what has it taught you about yourself?
That I can be consistent with the routine and put myself first, and it's okay, not feel guilty about that. And so I wake up early before my kids and I get on my Peloton and I put a workout in and I've been doing like 3 to 5 days a week from like going to nothing. So I'm proud of myself.
Oh yeah. You guys, let's give her a round of applause because we know that journey starts with ourselves first, our fitness, our health, our vitality, making sure that we're sweating, we're releasing endorphins, we're creating dopamines. So wonderful. Anything else, Griselda?
Well, yeah, but I'm just going to leave it there.
All right. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. And listen, you guys, I am seeing like these partnerships form, and I'm not just saying business partnership. I'm seeing like this true, hey, girl, wake up. I need you up. We're at the gym at 5:30. Hey, bro, we're going to be at the gym at 5 o'clock, 6 a.m. I'm seeing all of you guys' posts in the gym, and I'm super, super inspired by all of you guys. So I love that, and great job, Griselda. Let's hear from Joellen. What is one thing that or multiple things that you have learned about yourself thus far? And Omar G had his hand up, so I'll just go to Omar and then we'll cut it off there. But Joellen, start us off. Let's hear you.
Just basically when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I don't want to let myself down. I don't want to let my team down. I think that is the part that I know that if I don't do it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I said I was going to do it and I didn't do it. I can't have that, so I just go for it. Having all these events that I've had since October, I now have other agents reaching out to me to co-host events with them. So I have like 4 events coming up with different agents. Also on March 8th, everybody guys, this is a save the date for Walnut Creek. We're having a huge International Women's Day event. We're going to have Mimosa Bar 360. We're going to have great speakers there. So save the date because the tickets are going to sell out fast. And then also I'm planning a mastermind down in LA with some realtors. And I got a referral today from a realtor in the senior real estate space down in LA. So
boom, I love this. And then we all want to know how long you've been breakdancing. I see you got your Adidas tracksuit on. How long you been breakdancing? I love
I'm gonna do the realtor video today with that.
I love it. And then last but not least, Omar G, if you can contribute, but please put your camera on. There you are, big dog. What's up? What's one thing you've learned about yourself thus far this year already, February 20th? Let's hear from you, bro.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. One thing that I've learned this year about me and my business is that I need to rely or lean more on my team. That's the reason why I joined Team Fast, to be in a collaborative space. So allowing myself to kind of, I guess, be vulnerable and ask for help or ask people questions allows me to, expand my business. Otherwise, I could just be a solo agent or, do this thing on my own, but that's not why I joined the team. So I'm learning to lean heavy on my community and all my team members.
Man, I absolutely love this. I absolutely love it. You guys, I had a question for you because it's new to me. I didn't even know that this book existed, but I want to say thank you first off to everyone that just contributed. How many of you have read this book here? All right. So I think Cynthia has. I see some other hands go up. Romel, Andrea. I know a few other people have hit me up on Instagram, said that they've read this book. So I do a lot of reading on the weekends. Love to listen to music, drink coffee, and just read. I'll put a record on and read. This book is it's an amazing read. And I read 50 pages yesterday. And so it really, really had me locked in. And a couple key takeaways from that book. And I want to share this with you because I think it applies to everyone on the call. It says, when we are young, we are dreamers, we are visionaries. Everything is clear. We are not afraid to dream. And I look at my son and I see him outside for 6 hours yesterday playing with kinetic sand. And every single thing that the dude can envision, it's like there for him. His thoughts, his imagination, all the things that he wants to create, he's like living his best life. And you guys see that within your kids, right? You see this imagination. Well, what happens in life is that life happens, and then all of a sudden things start to take away those dreams from us or take away our imagination. And I want you guys to go back to this, and why I love this, because it said, as time passes, mysterious forces happen in the world, and they remove us from our, what we believe to be our personal legend. Here's what I want you guys to think about right now. And it might not be something that you are clear on today, but it's something I want you to be clear on in the coming months and in this year, is what is your personal legend? Like, what are you in this business for? What are you creating? Who are you creating it for? Who do you want to become? How do you want to be known? What is the impact on the world? And I want to bring you back to that. And I want to encourage you to imagine, to explore, and to say, you know what? The world is at my fingertips, and I cannot allow outside circumstances or whatever happening in the world to take me from my true dreams that I have for this world and in the next life. Personal legend. I want you guys to ask yourself that. Put that somewhere on a Post-it, hang it up on your computer, put it up on your bathroom mirror, and simply ask yourself that question. Like, how do you want to create this legend in your life? How do you want people to remember you? And I thought that was really powerful. So if you have not read this book, highly, highly recommend that you pick this book up and just dive in. You guys, it's a pretty easy read. It's not more than 300 pages. It's a really good read. Anyways, I want you to ask yourself a few questions today, and I'm going to go through a couple exercises to help you guys with this. I want you guys to ask yourself this question, like, how well do you know yourself? And I know it seems really, really simple, but stay with me for a minute because I want the permission to go a little bit further with you. How well do you know yourself? How emotionally aware are you right now of who you are, your state, how you act, how you react? Do you understand your own communication patterns? Meaning, like, if you were to bottle it up right now and articulate what is your main communication style and who you communicate the best with, are you able to articulate that? Do you know how to identify communication indicators in others? Do you know, based on words that they use, posture, tone, how they communicate and how they best receive information? And lastly, how well do they communicate, right? So I want you to start thinking about these things and asking yourself, like, how well do I truly, truly know myself? And start doing a little bit of work. I'm going to share some things with you on my screen right now. And then you guys can take some notes of this, and I'm going to plug some stuff here in the chat. All right, so you guys have probably heard of this before. Crystal Knows. Crystal Knows is something that you guys are probably super familiar with. If not, let me just go ahead and copy this and I will put this in our chat down below. And let me do this, everyone. Boom, here. All right. So first things first, Crystal Nose is a personality test. Please grab it or raise your hand if you've ever done a Crystal Nose personality test. Here's the thing. I've done them years ago, and then you do them like currently right now. And like, you'll see that things have changed because you've changed. You've become more aware. You've become more astute. You've become more sensitive to certain things. So first things first, I want you guys to take that link that I just put in the chat down below, and I want you to spend some time doing this. Also, if you haven't done the DISC profile, which many of you had, and this is taking it back, I want you guys to go in and I want you guys to do the DISC profile. This is going to allow you to understand exactly who you are, how you communicate, and how others communicate, and how to identify different patterns within the people that you are working with. We all have a dominant style in the way that we communicate. Well, it's also important that you understand the patterns and the behaviors of others so you can address it accordingly. I want to ask you guys a quick question, and I want to pause right now. When communicating with a consumer, whether it's a listing or a seller or a buyer, what communication style do you have the hardest time with? Based on how you communicate, when you deal with this person that communicates this way, what is the biggest challenge that you have with that personality type style? I personally have a challenge, or had a challenge with those super analytical people, the engineers, the questions. Not saying that I'm not okay with it. I can get over it. I'm a really good communicator, but it's just like, dude, how many questions are you going to ask me? Really? Like, they cannot move forward unless every little particular question is answered. And like, you guys, I love you. I get recruiting calls like that. And I'm just like, they have like 17 different questions and are going through it. And you know me, I'm about energy, vibe, passion, excitement. So that's me. So Andrew Lynn, you're laughing, bro. Tell me where your head's at. What are you laughing about?
Oh my God. I think doing the DISC profile has been a game changer for me because it helps me understand where I'm coming from and areas where I could look at doing things a little bit differently. I'm a total engineer by I'm an engineer in my past life. Like, I'm very analytical. I'll ask like a bajillion questions, and I'm trying to be better about that. But also at the same time, I think it's helped me understand my clients better as well too, and how they operate, and knowing like, hey, I'm an engineer. Like I'm a high S&C in the DISC profile. So like, I'm very analytical. I'm very like stable and whatnot. But when I'm working with my D clients or my I clients, I have to sort of adjust to how they respond well to. And so that's been a huge game changer. If they're high D, I'm like, I don't ask all these questions. I'm like straight to the point. This is what you want, like no bullshit. Like if it's an I, I'll try to be a little bit more chatty, like get to know them and be able to adapt to how they respond. So
I love this. I love this. Anybody else want to share a challenge, a personality style or a communication style, that you always find it a little bit more challenging? Not saying that you can't have a great conversation with them and you can't have a great outcome, but who and what is the communication style that you have the most challenges with? Anybody else want to chime in like Andrew just did? Anybody else? Everyone's great. All communication styles, no matter what, no matter who they face. Who was that?
I've heard people that they have a hard time with seniors. Like they don't have patience with like, maybe someone in their 60s or 70s, which I have like high patience and tolerance for them. So I don't know.
But why though? What do you think it takes?
I think it takes somebody who's very patient, who can speak slowly when needed to, actually is empathetic, wants to chat about their history. It may be a little longer process. You might be at the listing appointment for 4 hours versus 1 hour, but hey, it's time well spent.
But do you guys get a sense of who Joellen is by the way that she communicates? Is that safe to say? We get a sense that she's a nurturer, she cares, she truly wants to go above and beyond. It's not a secret or not a surprise, why she is leaning into that realm of her business. I love it. Maria, you had your hand up, but then you ducked out for a second. There you are, the lady in white. Let's hear from you. What's up?
Good morning. So I'm a high I, D, like extremely high I. Like I think if I could go off the charts of an I go off the charts. And then my D has developed over the years. So I may be super like, I just can imagine all the fun things that are happening. But at the same time, it's like when I'm stuck on a goal, I got it, right? The challenge I have are with the S's and the C's. And because they tend to, as Andrew said, you know, they ask a lot of questions, and I'm willing to answer all the questions, but at some point I'm like, can we just move forward? Like that's in my brain, right? But I'm like very, you know, I'll understand, I answer all the questions. And thankfully I used to be an accountant. How that happened, I don't know. So I could understand the questions. But I think out of all the personality types, that would be the one that I have the most challenge with because of the questions. Because sometimes I don't know the answer. And so I'm like, uh-oh, because I just like the outside. I like all the other stuff. So it's there. Part of my homework when I know that I'm meeting with an SNC is to do my homework because they're going to ask questions. And a lot of times I don't dig deep enough to figure it out. And so now I know I have to come prepared. I have to have my data. I have to have my stats. I have to know about the neighborhood. I have to know the school rating. I have to know the property taxes and how often they've gone up. I have to know that before I meet them. So that's super important to know for those that are like me, like the I's and the D's. We need to do our homework before we meet with the S's and the C's.
God, I absolutely love this. I'll give you an example. Say you meet some guy named Charlie, who was my grandfather's name. So I'll just give you context here. Charlie's from Brooklyn, New York. And he is all about this, and this, no fluff whatsoever. But then you come to him and you want to know about how he feels and talk to me about how that feels and what that means to you. He's like, hey, no, I just want this, and this, quit being an asshole. Okay, cool. So how am I going to communicate with that person? I'm just going to give him this, and facts. So the fact that Maria just said, I'm a high I and D. You guys will hear these terms as you guys are around this environment more and more. But if you don't know what that means and that is foreign to you, then take the time to really dive into that. The first place you start is self. Then based on your analyzation of yourself and your own results, then you'll start to see different patterns. Do you think Kenny and I's personality or communication patterns are completely different? Completely worlds opposite, but that's what makes us good business partners. So I believe that just like Maria said, if you know somebody is an analytical type, they're an engineer, like that facts, that data, making sure that you answer the questions that they're going to have and going into that presentation. Joellen, I know that you're probably going to have a lot of questions. So what I've done is I've done my homework, I've done my research, and I want to make sure to address any questions that you have. Because in order for that client to move forward, all those doors have to be closed and they don't base anything off of feeling, right? There's others that base it solely off of how things feel, vibration, energy. That is an I, right? So I want you guys to take the time. If you have not done a crystal nose and you have not done a disc profile, and if it's been a minute, go back and really break that down and then share that on social media. There's a lot of people that don't really understand this, but in your quest to become amazing communicators, really understand how people receive information. It's similar to the book, The 5 Love Languages. How many people have read that book? That book is not just for love. That book is for all types, but I think you'll learn a lot of great lessons in that book. And so any other thoughts on this? Any other questions? Anybody else want to share with me a personality style or type that they typically don't feel aligned with when they're communicating with them, or they have challenges, whether it's booking an appointment, on a listing presentation, or doing a buyer's consult? Anybody else want to share? Going once, it's okay. Romel, go big dog.
I don't know what the DISC stands for, but I know that I'm the annoying analytical type, and people probably get really annoyed talking to me. I'm trained as an architect, so I relate to what Andrew was saying. And I've had to catch myself when I get too much in that mode. I was at hosted an open house this Saturday, and one of the visitors came in and had questions about structural stability of the building. And I just like clicked into, dropped the real estate and started talking about all things engineering and architecture. And I had to stop because I saw their eyes kind of glazing over, like, okay, that was more than we needed. Let's talk about the washer dryer again. And so I have to kind of check myself when I'm over communicating in that way.
Okay, Ramel, first off, congratulations by recognizing it. Have you ever dealt with somebody that didn't at all stop to think how you receive communication, right, and information, and then they went on and went on and went on and went on, and they data dumped and they didn't ask the right questions, and you're sitting there like, what the fuck is this presentation that I'm sitting in? Has that ever happened to you before? So like the fact that you're conscious of it, Romel, that's step number one. Like, okay, I need to shut up, because if I data dump too much, then I'm going to leave them with this. They're going to leave me with this. That's great information. Let me think about it, right? When you data dump on somebody, this is the thing that they will say, well, let me think about it. Damn it, what is there to think about? I just gave them far too much information. So first off, that's a great thing to be able to identify it and be like, okay, hold on, engineer mind. Let me just close it down for a second, get back to, so are you going to live here with the kids? Do you like the backyard? What did you like about the neighborhood? And find out more about them. Anybody else have a challenge with a certain communication style, buyer, seller, investor? Anybody else want to share?
Elias,
Yo, what's up, Aaliyah?
what's up? My challenge, and I'm not sure what my disc profile is, but I'm gonna take it now that I have the link to see. But my challenge is also with analyticals because it's again a bunch of data, and I always feel it almost makes me feel like uninformed when they know, like, it seems like they know more than me when it comes to data. So for me, it comes down to having to do a bunch of research, and like a bunch of research. And the other issue with me is I don't consume data very well. So it's like I have to really, really, really study hard for me to be able to internalize it and then be able to communicate it with the person that I'm talking to. So that's my issue.
Yeah, and you know what, Casina, thank you for being here, by the way. You're absolutely welcome to be here. She said, I'm with Keller Williams. Can I be here? Hell yeah, you can be here. This is open to everybody. But Aaliyah goes back to what Maria said, and it comes back to framework, right? If I know that I'm going to go meet with an analytical, and I could tell by the way that they asked their questions, it was non-emotional, it was straight facts, figures, data, then I'm going to frame it like, all right, Mr. Johnson, I'm glad that we're able to get together. Where are we going to sit down and talk strategy? So what I've done is I've prepped a series of answers that you probably have to a lot of the questions. And so let's go right into all of these things and let me know what questions you have. And what you've done is you've prepared. You know what questions are going to ask about taxes, about the sales, about percentage over list price, about the process. You make sure to try to think about all of the questions that they could potentially ask and just be prepared. So it's good that you identify with that, but just like Maria said, it just takes practice and takes preparation. George, you had your hand up, bro. Let's hear from you. And if you can, put your camera on for your contribution. George Martinez going once, George Martinez going twice. There he is, the big guy.
Yeah, sorry, this is Dan. So yeah, kind of similar to what Maria and Elias said, is that I feel like when it gets to the analytical engineer folks, or like the people that want to get down to the nitty gritty numbers, I'm like, oh shit, I got my degree in communication. I went for the easiest major without the hardest math. I was like, what math do I need to take to get the hell out and graduate? And so I feel like that's, sorry, I'm out of breath. I feel like something I've been tweaking lately is really going to different networking events. Like I saw that there's that talk of Tuesday at the office tomorrow to talk to different lenders and basically just learn more about the market. And so what I realized is as I'm learning more about the market, instead I'm sharing what's going on in the market right now, since that's a lot of the questions a lot of folks have, and that's been actually working. But I need to get better at learning how to mirror people's personalities.
I love this. I love this. Let me ask a quick question. Let's go to Frida, or JJD's on, it says on your screen. Frida, let me ask you a question. how do you best receive information or communication? What's the best way for someone to communicate with you?
One-on-one, directly.
Okay, directly. So do you consider yourself a high D?
I actually have my profile here.
Cool.
It says a high I.
Okay. But when
Yeah.
someone communicates with you, what does not hit? Like, what is just like, oh my God, stop.
I guess people who aren't, who aren't willing to have fun while they go through the process. Because
okay.
for me, I keep things light. We have fun while we talk, we engage, we talk about other things as well. But for them, it's just more, for us, it was more of a journey, to go through the process together. It's a team effort. And I kind of like that environment. And for those who don't feel like it's collaborative, or they just want to tell you what they want, period, and that's what they get, it's hard for me to deal with those kind of people because there's no flexibility.
Okay, I like that. So we hear one perspective. Is anybody on the other side of that? Is someone on the other end of it? It's like, it's always business. I want to make sure that it's facts, figures, data, and that's how they operate and how they communicate. Vanessa Vo, you had your hand up. Vanessa Vo.
Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning, Sunshine. What's up? Hit us with it.
Good morning. So for me, I'm all about reality. And to me, the only way I can bring reality to some folks is with data. And so I'm on the other end. It's like, okay, well, I want the $1 million house on the lake, but I don't want to do anything you're trying to tell me to do to get there. So when it comes to that, I'm like, well, I don't know about you, but this is what's going on. And so if you want to get to your end journey, this is how we have to go about it. So that's how I am. And it's hard for me to talk to people that's not in tune with reality.
Wow. Okay. So despite your attitude, despite like you have this really open style of communication, you still, like Colette said in the chat, you're still always winning on the data, right?
Yes.
To bring them
Because
back
I know that.
reality.
Yeah, because no matter how I feel, this is what's the truth. This is data, regardless of, if I, think that's too much, or you're not, trying to come up enough, or, you want to be all over the place, but you really want to be closer to work. Like, what is it, And so I don't know, sometimes like it may take a couple more conversations to get them to come to reality, but I don't know, to me, every time we have another conversation, we somehow get closer.
I love this. I love this. You guys, something I've told almost every single buyer that I've ever worked with is on the offer time page in the buyer's consultation. What I tell people is that what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my opinion from any of this. And I'm going to remove how I feel about any of this. And what we're going to do is we're going to base our offer based on what the reality of the market's going to do. So I'm going to share with you all the comps, all the stats, all the figures, what homes are listing for, what they're selling for, and how many offers are on each home. Now, based on the data, we're going to decide what we believe our best offer amount is. And that's not going to be based on my opinion, right? I'm going to give you my expertise based on what's happening in the market and the engagement that this property is getting. So I absolutely love that, Vanessa. Anybody else want to chime in before we move and shift gears? Casina, was that a yes? Okay, Casina, I'm just going to mute you then because I'm getting some background noise from your line. Mute. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, guys, let me go back into this. Somebody had asked or said, I don't know what that stands for. It is dominance, influence, steadiness, and concise, conscientious. So you'll be able to see exactly what you are once you do this. So break this down, do the homework, have some fun with it. Also, a great book for you guys to read is this book here. It is a really, really cheap book. I'll make sure to put that in the chat below as well, the Social Styles Handbook. If you don't have that, use that as a reference point. I believe once you really dial into how people communicate, there's a lot to learn, I promise you, but you'll just become a better communicator. And no matter what scenario, what type of personality that you're going up against, you guys are going to have ways to better communicate with that person. Now, we all have a way that is dominant to us. However, you'll start to see patterns in the way that other people communicate, and you'll start to like really enjoy that process. So that's a book that I would highly, highly recommend. Another thing that I want you guys to do today, and if you guys are sitting and you guys have the ability to do so, I want you guys to do this for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the chat, and let me just put this to everyone so you guys have this. Paste, boom. All right. So I'm also reading the book Grit. And if you guys are not on this book yet, by Angela Duckworth, please make sure to read this. This recommendation came from Cynthia. Other people that I've spoke with have read this book as well. Highly, highly recommend that you get this book. Well, I did a little research. I'm looking online. I'm looking at anything that Angela has produced about this book. And there's actually a grit scale. I found the scale to be super, super cool. And I think that it's great for you guys to kind of double check and to see exactly where you're at. And I really love the questions here. So let's just go through some of these. New ideas and projects sometimes distract me from previous ones, right? I think when I say that, some of you probably be like, oh, wow, I always get distracted and maybe I don't finish the things that I say I'm going to finish. I see people smiling right now and nodding their head. Number two, setbacks don't encourage me. I don't give up easily. When I hear that, it fuels me. I'm like, I don't give up. Like, there is no giving up. My son the other day, he was just playing around. He's like, I quit. I'm like, what? Astutos don't quit. Don't ever say that. And he's 4. So you got to imagine like what I want for him, because that's a non-negotiable for me. Number 3, I often set a goal, but later choose to pursue a different one, right? Oftentimes we set goals for ourselves at the beginning of the year, and then something happens and then we're doing something else and we're all over the place and we don't stick to this. And I'm sure this is hitting home for some people. I am a hard worker. 100%. You are a hard worker. Is that very much likely? Most likely like me, somewhat like me, not much likely, or not like me at all. So let's keep cruising. 5, I have difficulty maintaining my focus on projects that take more than a few months to complete. That is a challenge for a lot of people because the goal is the lagging indicator. The actions are the leading indicators. Those are the things that you're doing on a daily basis. And sometimes we don't stay focused. 6, I finish whatever I begin. Man, how many projects do you have on your docket right now? How many things have you said that you want to finish? All the tools, all the resources, all the systems. I hear it all the time. Well, I want to get my CRM working. What the fuck are you waiting for? Right? You've been saying this for 8 months that you want to get your CRM in order. All you do is put your clients in there and then follow up with them accordingly based on the tasks that you put in. It's simple. Anyways, don't get me started. 7, my interests change from year to year. I believe that works for a lot of us. Our interests do change, but my interest to serve people at the highest level will not change. I am diligent. I never give up. I have been obsessed with a certain idea or project for a short time, but later lost interest. Ooh. I have been obsessed with a certain idea or project for a short time, but then later lost interest. Have you ever had this fire, this excitement about something, and you're so passionate about it, and then a month goes by, like, yo, where's that project that you're talking about? Oh, I'm on to something different. Lastly, I have overcome setbacks to conquer an important challenge. And then what you do is you get your score. Based on that score, that will tell you, based on this book, you know, nothing is 100% accurate, but it'll at least give you an idea of like, how gritty are you? How long do you stay in the ring? How much are you willing to endure? How much are you willing to sacrifice in order to have the things that you truly want in this business? I believe grit to be one of the most powerful words of 2023. The word I cannot stand no longer, and you know me, if you spend any time with me, is the word pivot. I cannot stand that word any longer. I want to know that you have the grit and you have the tenacity to stay in the ring and do the things that you need to do in order to make it through and make sure that you're hitting your goals in 2023. So I wanted to share that sentiment with you guys. So I gave you 3 things: the homework or the project or the assignment or the challenge to each of you is to spend time doing your crystal nose, do your disc profile, go through and do the grit assessment. And I want you guys to buy the 2 books. I want you to buy Grit and I want you to buy the Social Styles Handbook. Those things for this session were the premise of what I wanted to encourage you guys to do. And I wanted to lean into that conversation today. My hope for each of you is that I make each of you more self-aware, and I make each of you even better communicators than you already are. If looking back on my legacy that I've had with you guys, coaching, developing, training with you guys, my thoughts are, how can I make these people the best communicators that they possibly can be, and be self-aware of the humans that they are? And when I look back, that to me is going to be one of my biggest claims to fame. So that's my thoughts. That's my sentiment. I want to ask you guys or answer any questions or have some dialogue in that. Anybody have any thoughts, any ideas, anywhere your mind is working right now that you want to share with the group before we go into a couple more things and key takeaways? Was that another hand? All right, let's go, Frida.
I just want to say that, it's a great way to get out of your own mind, especially beginning of the year. There's a lot of things to do and a lot of, things that we got to plan out. So for me, it's a great way to find out what I need to work on and what I need to keep doing better.
I love
Thank
this.
you.
Yeah, no, you got it. I'm here for you guys. Anybody else have a thought, an insight, a contribution on the subject of anything that we've covered so far today? Anybody? Going once, going twice, and one
I have
more time.
something.
Yes, Cynthia. What's up, Cynthia? How are you?
Hi, I'm
I
good.
like the plaid. That's cool.
Thank you. I just got to the Walnut Creek office. So, something with grit is that you can grow your grit. Like you can toughen up. You can grow that backbone. Because when I first started doing this, I was not a gritty person. I could not focus on a project for more than a couple minutes or more like a couple months, but I just couldn't get things through to fruition. And then something just clicked. It was probably after reading that Angela Duckworth book. And it was just like, no, I want to be someone that does these things. I want to finish projects. And you can grow your grit. So if you take that scale and you're looking at it now and you're like, God, I wish I was this or that, then work on it and grow your grit because it's possible.
I love it. Grow your grit. I'm going to share something with you. And some of you have only known me for the last 3-5 years, some of you. Well, there was a time in my not so distant past that I wasn't a man of discipline and I wasn't a man of grit. And when Cynthia says that you can grow the grit, I believe that you can grow that discipline as well. I promise you guys, there was a time like waking up late, the drinking, the unaware, like not following through on my word, not being just, if I'm being real with you guys, just not being a good man, right? Not being a good man, right? If you know me now, that's a non-negotiable. My family, my lady, my business, my principles, my virtues, my discipline, those are things that I unwaver from. So Cynthia, I appreciate you saying that because these are things that you can grow. You can grow your grip and you can grow your discipline. So wonderful. Any other thoughts, any other contributions or insights on this topic? Anybody else want to go before we close out and start going full circle? Okay. I heard this yesterday and I wanted to share this with you guys because we talk about the grind, we talk about the hustle, and I want that to always be important to you guys because the grind, the discipline is critical to your success. And let's not get it twisted. That enthusiasm is your fuel. And so stay with me for a minute because I thought this was really profound. Balance discipline and enthusiasm because there is no good that's going to come out of you grinding. Oh, I did this 7 days a week. I was up at 7. I didn't stop at 7. Now I got mad respect for you. But sometimes when you're grinding that hard, you will lose your true enthusiasm for this business. And if you continue to do that, you will burn yourself out and you will not love it. So you have to have an equal flow of your grind as well as your enthusiasm. And if you're grinding to the point where you have no more enthusiasm, but the discipline tells you that you need to do it, then you need to take a day off. You need to go and detach and go by the water, go to a concert like I'm going to tonight. Allow yourself to decompress because you can grind yourself right out of this business and you can grind yourself right into being unhealthy. And that is the last thing for you. So if you find yourself grinding too much and your enthusiasm level isn't at an equal or higher than that, then you got to make some adjustments. I want you guys to be successful, but I also want you guys to have a very successful personal life that is equally important to me. So remember that, focus on that, and be really, really in tune with that. Don't outgrind yourself out of enthusiasm. Make sure that you have a really good flow as you're growing in your business this year. So let's do this, you guys. We got about 10 more minutes. I want to go around the room. I just want to hear some key takeaways. I want to hear where your guys' thoughts are, where your head's at. So I'm going to go around the room. I'm going to go to David for his first time at a Keep It Moving group coaching, and go to you, one of the twins, the twin with more endurance on the cardio. So David, let's hear from you, bro. What are some of your key takeaways from our time together today?
Yeah, I mean, really, sorry, I gotta tell Mark to take off his. Hey, don't talk to me that way. It's a twin thing. I'd say definitely really understanding you know, my personality, and really taking deep dives into also the other customers that you're talking to. If you're able to understand, you know, your style and who you are as a person, you know, you can definitely be, you know, go into a lot more meetings more effectively and efficiently. So that's definitely a key takeaway.
I love it. I love it, David. I'm going to give you guys one of the hardest lessons that I've learned over the past couple of years. So obviously Kenny and I have been business partners now for 3 years, and I love my partnership with Kenny. What first, if you guys know me, I'm the type of dude that likes attaboys. I love words of affirmation, right? When my lady tells me she loves me and says nice stuff, I love those types of things, right? Well, having a business partner that is not that way, is not emotional. Like we have this he's very logical. And so at first I was just like, I would do things, I know I would do a great job and I work my ass off. And I was just looking for like anybody? And I want to get that back. And so what I was doing is I was hoping that he was going to give me information based on the way that I wanted the information, versus me understanding the way that he was communicating and respecting the way that he was giving me his accolades in his way. The way that he gave me accolades was giving me more responsibility, having me be the spokesperson for the company, trusting me to do the things that I do in our environment. So I stopped looking for the attaboys, and because I was looking for it the way that I wanted to receive the communication versus respecting it the way that it was coming from my business partner. Huge lesson. And you know what? I don't have letdowns anymore. I don't think like, ooh, Kenny's going to say thank you today. Fuck that. Just work your ass off, bro. You're still in your position. You still got an opportunity to provide for your family, impact others. Cool. Thank you, Kenny, for the opportunity. Thank you. Let's go to Andrea Lamadora. Andrea Lamadora, well, thank you. I appreciate the high five. Andrea Lamadora, let's hear from you. Key takeaways from our time together today.
Key takeaways. Actually, in the beginning when we first started the session, you were talking about what was it? How you feel about yourself and your personal legend. And actually, so let me actually go back to I had an open house last week, and I was discouraged, right? Because it was 110 days on the market, and people were like, "Oh, you think you're gonna get some, you know, listings?" And I was like, part of me was like, should I go? Maybe I should cancel it. But to say, I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna push through. Who knows what's gonna happen? And ended up, going, and it turned out to be a really good open house. But to say, I was discouraged myself, and forces around me were like, oh, maybe it's not gonna be good, and some were like, oh, it might be good. Anyways, went through it, and it went well. So happy that I did, and listen to myself.
Beautiful. I love it. So let's continue cruising on. I'm going to go to, where is it? She just went off really quick. Let's go over to Thomas Sebastian. Thomas Sebastian, key takeaways from our time together today.
Definitely understanding your personality, seeing how you can provide value to other people when you meet up with them. I'm personally going through a situation right now where I'm helping a couple of good families out with leases. And I noticed that when I sit quiet and pay attention to more of their needs, it allows me to help them out more. For example, there's a family that I'm working with who actually has a grandmother who's like 108 years old. So, instead of looking for townhouses that are like 3 stories or 2 stories, I rather find them like a 1-story floor. So it's like all eyes on grandma. So being more of like a personable character, understanding people's situations, and to piggyback off of the whole open house point, open houses are also, pretty nerve-wracking, especially if you're a newer agent. But I think listening to other people and understanding your personality and adapting your personality based off of how the other person is on the other end, that can really go a long way in terms of providing value and helping you kind of like, close the deal. So that's what I learned from today's conversation.
I love it, Thomas. I appreciate your contribution. I'll come over to Nicole in just a moment here, but I'm gonna go Danielle Martinez. Danielle Martinez, key takeaways from our time together today.
Good morning, everybody. Well, just about the personality and working, it's not just their personality, but kind of adjusting our personality sometimes. Because, it's be you, be fast, be yourself, but we also have to work and adjust. We can be ourselves to a point to people, right? Because everybody also reads us differently. So it's not just the analytical, it's also just their personality. You don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to overstep or think you're too cool with somebody, or, or read somebody wrong and offend them. I see a lot, sometimes other agents doing that, they not too chummy, but you can't really completely just be yourself. You do have to put a line on that. I think I've learned that because I've always worked in hospitality. You have to read everybody differently. If it's an older couple, you can't really just be like, hey guys, how's it going today? They really maybe don't want you to speak to them like that. I've had older people correct people like, I'm not a guy. You know what I mean? Like, don't speak to me like that. Or if you do have a younger Silicon Valley tech person, you can be like, hey, how's it going? Like, what's going on today? Or what have you been doing this weekend? There's just different ways. And I think that ties into everything. You have to read everybody differently and know how to respond to them, not just with the house facts, but just everything. You're going around for hours with these people. You have to know how to communicate with them, and everybody's different.
Totally. And I think the more you spend time with people, then obviously they're going to loosen up. But there's an age demographic that I'm probably, as soon as I meet them, I'm not going to cuss. Now, I don't mind showing my tattoos,
Right.
I don't mind expressing them, but I'm probably not going to cuss until like John and Mary say, like I can feel that. So that's a really good awesome observation. Let's go to Nicole Penland. Nicole Penland, let's hear from you. Key takeaways from our time together today.
You need to, as far as the personality, just piggybacking on that, also doing temperature checks with yourself, because as you grow and as you evolve, things in your personality may change. You may feel like you're one way because you've always been one way, but being that, you've had certain experiences or overcome certain circumstances, it may adjust things and your personality may change. So you need to keep checking on that.
God, I absolutely love that. You guys get out of your own way. There's thoughts, there's behaviors, there's communications that may not be serving you right now. But now mind you, there is things that are serving you in your career, but you need to let go of some of your ego at times. You need to be able to say, that worked. There's so many people, oh yeah, now that's been working. Really? Show me how that's worked in your business in the last 6 months. Well, no, it did years ago. Well, it's time to maybe adjust the way that you behave, the way that you think, and the way that you communicate. And I believe that communication, proper communication, is a constant evolution. The way I speak now is vastly different than the way I spoke when I was 33 years old. And when I'm 53 years old, I think I'm going to be this calm, hopefully grandparent at that time, but I don't know. Anyways, the point is, you guys, a lot of great information. Crystal knows this profile test. You have the grit test. 2 books that I highly recommend. Let's lean into that. On Wednesday, we're going to do something different this week. I am going to create breakout rooms. And what breakout rooms is, say we have 100 people on the call, we'll do, 5 rooms of 20. I'm going to break people into groups, and you guys are going to talk about the market. You guys are going to hear from people. There's going to be a leader of each room. We're going to have some fun with it. And then we're going to come back for the last 15 minutes of our session and hear what group spoke about what the key takeaways were and how much they learned from those small groups. So I'm going to probably call on a couple of you guys to be leaders in those groups, but let's do some things differently. Let's have some fun. But if you thought that this session was good and you took some things away from it, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate you guys for being here and spending your Monday morning with me. So as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision. I'm going to go listen to some beautiful reggae music tonight, and then I'll see Sacramento. You guys, we got tacos, we got lender, we got market update, then we got live prospecting. I'm bringing White Claws. I'm giving you guys prizes for whoever hits bingo first. So we're going full tilt in Sacramento tomorrow. So looking forward to seeing you guys. So have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace.